There are not many places older and cooler than this. I am just having the best time today. Ancient ruins are awesome. No way! What an aqueduct to end it on! Welcome to the glorious palatial labyrinth of Knossos and the oldest city in Europe. Based in Heraklion, Crete, on Greece's largest island, today Near From Home is going to take you so far off the beaten path to places I've never seen covered by other YouTubers. So let's hop in our little Fiat and journey off into the Cretan hills. All right. With our lovely drive from Heraklion over just about 10-15 minutes, we have made it to the parking lot of the ancient city of Knossos. And naturally, I am super excited. The tickets cost about 15 euros per person, which feels a little bit steep, but I imagine once I get in there, I won't care at all. Let's get going. At 3,500 years old, this is perhaps one of the oldest and magnificent places I've ever managed to take you on this channel, other than Troy, of course, back during our Turkish coastal road trip, which naturally I know you've watched. I mean, this place, if you think about it, in the broad spectrum of human civilization, there are not many places older and cooler than this. Maybe Egypt or Ur, but this is remarkable. Another similarity that Knossos has with Troy are these absolutely fantastic wooden walkways that help guide you around the site itself so you can appreciate it without trampling all over it. And these amphora that they found are incredible. Don't really have anything else to say about them other than that. They're just really cool. There are just so many of them running around. It's really cool, though they make the weirdest noise. Now, the people who lived here over 3,500 years ago are today called the Minoans, but that's not a word they would have ever heard themselves. That has been made up, that was coined by Sir Arthur Evans, the lead excavator of this site, and they're called that for a very cool reason, and that's because this is said to be the place where King Minos resided and where the Minotaur lived and lurked below in the ancient labyrinth. And Minoan columns are really interesting because they're quite a bit different than their Greco-Roman counterparts that we might so easily compare them with. And that's because they're inverted. A Greco-Roman column is thick at the base and thinner at the top, giving an illusion of even more height, whereas here it's thicker at the top, which I must say looks a little bit weird, but I love it all the same. Minoan columns are awesome. I am just having the best time today. Ancient ruins are awesome. What I appreciate the most about Minoan fresco is their interest in depicting everyday life, and conspicuously absent are any depictions of war, which is a nice change of pace. Now, I must admit, I don't exactly believe in the mythical underground labyrinth of Knossos, but at over 1,300 rooms across this sprawling palatial complex that in some areas was built 5 stories tall, I am willing to say that you'd get a little bit lost, especially if you've had a bit to drink, so maybe a ball of twine is not the worst thing to carry around. And even though this palace is indeed exceptionally old, we shouldn't underestimate their technological sophistication, because this palace had running water, fed by over 3 different aqueducts out amongst the hills behind me, which hopefully we'll get to visit later today. They had plenty of fresh water in and about for drinking and cleaning. There are a lot of medieval castles that can't even boast that, but perhaps even more impressive is they didn't just have one water system here at Knossos, they had 3. One for fresh water, one for drainage in case of floods, and the coolest, they had a fully closed-loop sewer system that would take all of the wastewater out amongst the hills and out of the palace itself, which is very cool. In fact, you could go so far as to say that if you count a jug as an appropriate mechanism, they had flushing latrines here in Knossos 3,500 years ago. That is just so astounding. I am absolutely loving this. I don't know if you guys can tell. I was a little nervous, if I'm being completely honest with you. I don't know why, but I read the reviews, and I think reviews are often written by people who don't like ruins as much as I do, because a lot of people say, oh, it's not that good. Like, are you sad that something that's 3,500 years old is kind of broken? Like, come on, it's incredible. Bronze Age for the win. This place is awesome. Oh, it's a real Mediterranean ruin video now. We found a cat. Meows. Hey. Oh, look at you. A baby for Screech.
She's kind of ignoring you.
Yeah. Oh, this is a good cat. Oh. And with that, goodbye.
She thinks they have food.
Oh yeah, she's on the hunt for snacks. Now, before we leave this absolutely magnificent place, we do need to talk about the elephant in the room, which is the reconstructions made by Sir Arthur Evans about 100 years ago, which might be pretty old to Americans, but to Knossos, practically yesterday. And unfortunately, pretty much all of the most vibrant and tall pieces at this site are indeed modern recreations. And it's a little polarizing. On the one hand, a lot of people say that what we're actually looking at today is merely Sir Arthur's interpretation of Knossos, and perhaps not a particularly good one. Whereas on the other hand, people debate that, well, there wasn't much here. It needed to be restored, it gets people interested, and it does protect a lot of the real pieces from the weather by exposing the fake ones first. So, you know, it really isn't so cut and dry. Is it good? Is it bad? That's not really for me to decide. What I would recommend, though, is that you come here and form an opinion for yourself, because either way, it's going to be a good day. Now, though, it's time to leave Knossos behind and visit some new sites. There are many more ruins to see today. Welcome to the parking lot of our next adventure. And as you can tell, it's a pretty busy place, but I'm not here to apologize for everyone else's bad taste. We have an hour and 15 minutes until this site closes. It's about time I let you in on the secret and tell you what this place is all about. I really am so excited. Hiya. Yeah, 2 tickets, please.
Thank you very much.
All right, thank you very much. Let's go. This behind me is the Gortyn Code, one of the earliest and most complete examples of pre-Hellenistic law in the world. In fact, one of the earliest legal codes in all of Europe, hewn into the very stone behind me so that 2,500 years later, you can come here and read it for yourself. Though, admittedly, I can't read ancient Greek. Luckily though, there have been many people far smarter than me that have translated it, and so we can read it to this day. Because you can learn so much about a people by the laws that they uphold and the rights from people that they withhold. And it's all written there behind us. It's magical. On the Great Code behind me itself, the earliest part, the earliest inscription, dates to 525 BCE, which already is incredible. But what I find really interesting is the youngest part dates back to about 400 BC, meaning this isn't just some constitution that they wrote once and lived with forever. It's a living document with amendments added later on, and you can see how the society was progressing and changing over that about 150 or so years. One of the most interesting parts is the way that slaves were slowly being given rights over that time, and perhaps not so cool how the rights of women were diminishing. That tells you a lot about the society itself. A law that does hold up, and in fact rings true to the modern day, is it specifically notes that adopted children are legally equal to biological children. Good job, guys. Not everything on there is useless. And perhaps my favorite part of all is that right around the corner from the Great Code itself sits the senatorial theatre, which is just very convenient. Argue about the laws? Write them on the walls afterwards. And there are a few telltale signs that this was not a theatre for fun or entertainment, especially because this theatre was still used during the Roman era, and they enjoyed a little bit of blood sport. However, here at this theatre, there are no walls or gutters separating the orchestra from the seating, which means everything must have been pretty safe, except for maybe a lively senatorial debate. There was, however, a real theatre for actual entertainment, but it's lost up in that hill. You can kind of see where it might be now, but they haven't finished their archaeological dig yet, so we can't go there. But the ghost of the theatre still remains. Make sure you keep track of this place online, because I have a feeling it's going to get better and better as the work continues. And not a bad place for sunset either, even if I can see that the attendants here would like me to leave about now, so we better get going. If you're planning on spending as long as me here at the Gortyn Code, make sure you get here a little bit earlier than an hour before it closes. Good morning, everybody, and welcome to another glorious day on Crete. I had the best day yesterday driving around the whole island, going to as many sites as I could. But today I want to mix it up a little bit and go to a museum. I have it on good authority that the Heraklion Archeological Museum is amazing. There was some fantastic finds at Knossos that I want to see in person. Let's go. This is easily one of, if not the single best archaeological museum I've ever been to. In part because the collection is unreal, but if I can be frank, it was also just refreshing to go to a museum of history and treasure located barely 30 minutes away from the dig site itself, instead of some colonial power's capital hall of looting. As you explore each section, the magic unfolds around you. My favorite part, of course, being the wooden reconstruction as to what we believe the palace might have looked like. With over 1,000 rooms, it is a sight to behold, and equally important to remember is that Knossos functioned as a city, not merely a monarch's home, with everyone living and working within this structure. Perhaps then this lends some credibility to the Athenian myth of the Minotaur, hiding away in the deep, dark labyrinth. Surely any Greek used to an open village would find this a nightmare to navigate, and who knows what other secrets may lie within. Though excavation is ongoing, what has been found so far is nothing short of astounding. Acting as an ancient metropolis and major trading hub, nowhere else in Europe can boast such a broad collection of finds. Egyptian, Greek, the Near East, and more, everyone found their way to Europe's true first great civilization. The craftsmanship in this jewelry, over 3,000 years old, is unbelievable. This museum is a real gem, so much so that if you find yourself following my guide, and I really hope you do, you may want to come here first before going to the ruin of Knossos itself, as the museum has definitely broadened my appreciation for earlier. I am so glad that we made time for that. Heraklion is amazing. The museum was great, walking around was lovely, but now, unfortunately, our time here is coming to a close. But you know me, there is one more thing that I hinted at earlier in the video. Fans of the channel, you know what's coming next. We're traveling deep into the Cretan hills for aqueducts, my favorite piece of civil engineering of them all. Isn't it just magnificent? And the two levels that you see behind me aren't even the totality of this Venetian era ruin. Because if you look just over behind me with your eagle eyes, you'll notice that there's still more rocky ruins up that cliffside. And that's because this aqueduct was a trilogy, 3 stories high. And apologies, Mum, again. I'm walking on another aqueduct. What are you gonna do with me? But how am I supposed to be able to help myself? They're just so cool. But what I love most about them is not just that they are a beautiful engineering marvel, they're always built in beautiful places. The views from this aqueduct are incredible. The valley below me, hearing the birds chirping, the water rushing. This is an amazing place to be. And I would love to know the tourist count for this aqueduct. This place is awesome. Though, of course, I am also scared there are snakes. Turn around. Are you getting vertigo? Now, as much as I would love to just bask in this glorious stonework all day, there are a few more aqueducts in these hills, and I'd like to try to get to see them. So we're gonna need to say goodbye to the Venetian, and while I'm at it, I might show you how we got here, since we sort of teleported earlier. You see this road behind me? Well, Google Maps thinks you can drive it.
Does it want us to go down there?
We did have to abandon the car, so let's do a little bit of a trail run, get back to the vehicle, hope it's still there, and then onwards and upwards to more feats of engineering. Crisis averted. The little red Fiat is still where we left her. Told you we abandoned her on the side of the road. It always makes me so nervous. But this isn't the first time I've abandoned a car to go see some ruins, and it won't be the last. So the closest spot to abandon the car that wasn't a single track road was this intersection and this abandoned house. It's the only place for kilometers, really. Anyway, a few hundred meters and we're gonna get to the ruin. Apparently, the second aqueduct is just down this farming road behind me, and I'm pretty glad we're hiking it. I don't want to take the little Fiat down there. Absolutely no way. Maybe if we had like a quad bike or something. I hope we find something cool. And so here's the second aqueduct, everybody. Blown away? Unfortunately, and this is sort of the problem with being near from home, there's nobody that I can watch that will go to these places and check them out for me. And so I'll put the name of this one on screen so that you don't end up coming here, but I'm afraid there is a very awesome ruined aqueduct inside this active olive grove. So we can't even go down in it because that would get us in trouble with the farmer. I could see it, it looks cool, it's far from walkable, and you know, I don't mind coming here. I view that as part of my job to check these things out. I'm not gonna call it a flop, but I'd understand if you did.
Maybe it'll look better on the drone.
Yeah, we'll get the drone out, so at least you can try to see what I'm looking at. Was it worth abandoning the car at that sketchy intersection for this? I'll let you decide in the comments below. I don't think there's much more for us to do here though. We've flown around, we've seen it. Let's go leave this farmer in peace, shall we?
I hate this.
What have we done?
Okay, is it?
Left. Yeah, it's impossible to know what aqueduct we're gonna be going to because everybody keeps mixing up the photos on Google Maps. So every aqueduct has a photo of every other aqueduct.
Here it comes.
Oh, but now I know which one we're going to. It's the driving aqueduct. Oh, this is so cool. Oh, go really slow, go really slow. Yeah, look at that.
Neat.
This is the wildest thing though. I mean, I guess people must know about this aqueduct, or at least maybe some local guides do, because we've seen 2 different taxis show up with tourists. I love to see it. Tourists seeing ancient ruins, A+. I don't know, any historians out there who do know this, do you have an idea why there are so many holes and essentially nooks for birds in this bridge? They kind of look like what medieval castles use for their beams, but I can't really imagine a bigger structure made of wood around this, so I don't really know what they're for. At the moment, it seems like they're for crows. Aqueduct and bird hotel. And I suppose it's time to disappoint my mum for the second time in one video. That's a new record. We're walking on another viaduct. Actually, I don't know if it's an aqueduct or a viaduct because I can't see the top floor. Whatever it's transporting, it's doing a damn good job. No, I think you're right. It does make sense for this to be a viaduct because it's massive. If you're just transporting water, you don't need to make it as wide. I really love having all the crows fly around. It adds a pretty cool ambiance. I mean, they are everywhere. There's got to be a couple hundred in the trees, on the rocks, in the bridge, in the nooks. Yeah, it's really neat. You'll have to forgive me though, I don't think I am actually going to fly the drone. There are way too many flying residents and I don't really want to piss them off. You don't want to get on a murder of crows bad side. Well, I'd say this one was a complete success. Not only did I not have to hike this time, I could just park next to it and drive through it, but it was really cool. It's massive. I've really enjoyed it. And that means only one more thing. Fourth time's the charm. Can we keep it rolling? We've got one more site. Let's get back to the car. And if it couldn't be more thematic, one more farm road, one more abandoning the car by the side of the road, and a rainstorm is coming in. So let's be quick. We've got about 200 meters until our last aqueduct of the day. Fingers crossed, everybody, that this one is a good one and a high note to end the video. Let's crush this last bit of elevation and let's go check it out. And we are so deep in the farms, groves, and vineyards now. Oh, look at this aloe plant. That is huge. Oh, I love a good aloe plant. Having a great day. And we are really off the beaten path now, which is fantastic because you really are rewarded for every step you take. The roads are sketchy though. Haven't enjoyed that. No way! What an aqueduct to end it on!
Oh my God.
That's so good! I might go walk on it. And this aqueduct is the only one with an official signpost that we've seen all day. Hey, come here. Isn't this magnificent? Being up here is so cool. Again, amazing views, and a view just the leading line of this aqueduct itself. I think this one reminds me the most of the aqueduct we saw in Turkey because it's got that strong groove for the water to flow down, though I have a feeling that maybe this doesn't see too much use anymore, given all the vegetation. What a remarkable day this has been. Ooh, that being said, there's the thunder. I think this is gonna be a real storm coming in. I think it's about time we leave, or at least start preparing to leave. It always takes me a while. And I think, guys, that's gonna about do it. Not only for our aqueduct adventure today, but our exploration of amazing Cretan ruins. And what an adventure it has been, right? Knossos was amazing, Gortyn was breathtaking, and these aqueducts have been phenomenal. So let me know down in the comments below that I'm not the only one who thinks this stuff is so cool. But most importantly, I hope I have inspired you not only to come to Crete, but to come out here and enjoy these amazing ruins for yourselves. I'll see you in the comments. Like, comment, share with your friends, subscribe if you want more awesome ruin content, and I will see you in the next video, guys, wherever that might be.